Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're joining us from. I see there's a little debate going on in the chat today. So welcome in, everybody. We'll give everybody a little bit of time to start rolling in. We have another exciting show today. So we will be talking with a trader that just passed. We like to bring in traders that have passed, that have made it through, that are going into the brokerage, because it's important for the people that might be struggling to get some guidance, maybe get some know-how from these traders that know how to actually get it done. Additionally, later in the show, we're actually going to be kind of showing a demo of the new coaching platform, which, open the name right now, as far as coaches, we utilize it in-house for coaching, but we're going to allow our members to start using it. And it's more of maybe like a pods where, and we don't really know the name yet, but it's kind of the purpose of it is to get a group of people that you trust and that trade the same, and you guys create your own little accountability group, and then you guys can look at each other's stats and share messages, and just talk about trading and hold each other accountable, and see the stats. So there's no hiding it. You can see what they took, if they didn't take trades, if they over traded. And we think it's really going to be game changing for traders to actually help them improve and continue to improve. So as always, we're looking for 50 likes on YouTube. I don't think it's hard to reach. Once we get those 50 likes, we'll go ahead and start the drawing for the giveaways today. We'll do some regular accounts and we'll do some practice accounts, as always. So our guest today, which we'll bring in now, he is the most recently passed trader that we have. Thank you for joining us today. And if you could pronounce your first name for everybody. I am the butcher.
It's Ashu, ASHU.
Ashu. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So, I think usually we kind of like to start by asking and getting an idea of what type of trader are you? How long have you been trading? What have you found that works really well for you? What doesn't work well for you? And just kind of sharing some guidance for the people that might be still trying to learn what to do, what not to do, and how to turn that next or take the next step, I guess. So how long you been trading, man?
So actually, I've been trading for the last 7 years now. I've been trading the Indian markets, the US markets, been trading stocks, futures, options, like literally everything.
Okay, so pretty much, you've been everywhere. What's your favorite market to trade and why?
Actually, it's US market, futures market.
Okay, Is there a reason
Then it will
behind
change.
why is it because it's all centralized and it seems like the most fair, or is it
Yeah,
other reasons? What is it?
yes. I like the liquidity there. It's centralized, it's fair, it's 24 hours open, 23 hours. Uh, Technicals work very well there. There is, I feel, no manipulation kind of thing unless some tweets, but in general, there is no manipulation.
Yeah, unless you got the headline risk of a Twitter post or X or whatever you want
Right.
to call it these days. Cool. So you passed. Did you end up taking a payout when you passed?
So I have taken a payout from the buffer. Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. Congrats, man. That's an accomplishment. We're really happy to talk to people that put in the work and, know actually how to do it. And, we looked at your stats. I looked at your stats the other day. We met already. And thanks for joining us on the show. It's really cool. Okay, so let's get into, and this kind of can be helpful, is like, what did you find when you were starting to trade, or even now, what's the hardest thing you have to deal with, like with trading?
Uh, that would be psychology, I guess.
Okay. The
So
psychology. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So the biggest hurdle that I faced is you make money someday, you lose money someday. It's a part and parcel of the game. But what matters is when you make money, you should be making more, and when you lose money, you should be losing less, right? The difference that is there, that is your net profit. And most of the time, what people do is they make less and they lose more. They go on a tilt on a losing day, and on the winning days, they try to be cautious or they try to protect their gains. This is the most difficult thing that I feel is there.
Got it. Okay. So I know because you brought this up when we talked, but through data, it sounds like you started, because you didn't normally do it. You didn't collect the data. A lot of traders don't because they don't see the value in it. But I guess you had mentioned that, like, look, the data is just there. It's easy to look at. And now because you looked at the data, you found some things in your data that actually helped you get better as a trader. Can you share a little bit about that and what the data was and how it made you better?
Yeah, actually, so with data, what happened is earlier, let's say you are trading prop, so you lose an account, it gets reset, then you lose all the data from the previous account, right? So you don't have time, you don't have the data to analyze it, and you are back again trading a new account. That is a major hurdle that I feel I had. I didn't had any data with me. Most of the firms, they delete your data, and you cannot even get that data back, right? So you don't know what you did there, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and how you traded. It's a new beginning, and you just go on doing what you did earlier, right? So here, what I felt is I had all the data from all my reset accounts and from my trading history, trading journey, and I got a lot of insights. So with journaling, either you can buy a journaling platform subscription, right? You can use that, and you can track your data. The second way is maybe use a Excel or something. Excel and other things are very, very, very difficult or very boring, tiresome, and
Yeah.
it's very difficult to do, right? Most of us will try to do it for a day or two or three maybe, and then we'll just on a losing day or something, we'll just be like, it's fine. It's of no use, or we'll do it the other day, or we'll do it on weekends. This is how it worked for me. uh, with TFD or the futures desk. What happened is I got all the data at a centralized place. Everything was just there. I didn't need to upload my trade statements. I didn't need to add anything or do anything more. So that helped me a lot. So if you like, I can show you my screen, or I can
Yeah,
just
for sure. If you
explain
want
what
to, if you want to share it, yeah. That's the thing. I
um,
mean, when we came together as a company, we came from another company, and we know journaling's not the most glamorous. Everybody wants to see big P&Ls, but it's like, look, we knew, and we met with so many traders, and we knew who and why they were being successful, and it was all by data. And then me personally, I hate journaling. Like, I can't stand it. I hate it even more if I have a losing day, because I'm like, I'm so angry that I had a losing day, right? Because you get emotional. Like, money's money, and when you lose it, it sucks. But through data, what's nice is when you are driven by data and you make decisions based on data, it just really helps you understand, like, no, it's okay. Look at the data, look how to improve. And by having automated journaling, I think that's where, we work so hard to make it easy, because we all hate having to do it manually. And when it's easy, people actually do it. So I'm glad that we've actually had some success from that. cool. So we'll go ahead and share your screen. We'll look at your data, and then if you could kind of quickly just say, hey, this is what I found, and this is how I made it better, and that's super helpful for people.
Right, so I've shared. I guess it's not showing. Maybe a technical
I
issue.
think we can add it to the stage. Let me add it to the stage for you. There
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go. And let me take my ugly mug off and just put you on there.
yeah. It's visible, right? Is it visible? You know, Okay, cool, cool, yeah. So this is from my past accounts. I was trading $3,000 drawdown 2x accounts. So if you see, let's say, let's start from all my accounts. So while trading all my accounts, when I initially started, I got into a bit drawdown. This was my trading journal, and like me, everything I was trading, I was losing money on. Like literally from the very first day, I was losing money. Yeah, so this is April, somewhere green, somewhere red. I then I used the. These are some of the data that they have here. Okay. So what I most like was time of the day. So I used this to understand which sessions or which time was not very well for me. So this is 7 p.m. This is in Indian Standard Time. So this is the market open. So when I trade the open directly, I had a $3,000 loss there and a winning ratio of just 35% with a trade duration, average trade duration of just 2 minutes. Yeah, so this I use this to analyze, like if I'm trading open, then I'm losing money on it, but when I trade 1 hour after the open, or maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour after the open, my stats improve, and post that I have kind of, all green, so my win ratio improves and I'm able to perform better on
Isn't
my
that
past accounts. So this is
it's
how my past accounts looks. Yeah.
yeah. What's crazy is like you don't realize that unless you look at the data, right? So in your perspective and in my perspective, sometimes you're like, no, the open's good, right? Because you get this like weird confirmation bias, like, oh, I've had good winners and I've done this, and then you look at the data, you're like, wow, no, I'm not good in this time frame. I just need to cut it out, right? So
Right.
that's, very first thing is like look at your data and figure out, okay, when am I good, when am I bad, and cut out what isn't working and focus on what is working. And that's kind of what you do is you basically are adding by subtracting, right? You're getting more money by subtracting setups and times and periods and in whatever you're trading, right? And that's the same with setups as well. So super great that you found the value in there. So you kind of understood that initial opening time that was really bad for you, so you cut it out, and then now looking at your stats now, it looks like you've turned a corner and things have become a lot more consistent. Is there anything else that you found in the data that worked really well for you?
Right. So post that I worked on my largest win and my largest losses. So if you see, these are from my past accounts. My largest profit is $1,500 from a trade, but the largest loss is only $400, and this was a hard cap. 70 should be from the commissions, I guess. So I had a hard loss of only $400 on a trade. Average winning trade is $300. So my average winning trade and my largest loss both are kind of equal. So my average losses are only 115 on a trade. So I was losing only 115 to make about $300. That's like more than 2x of risk reward or a profit factor. My most profitable and least profitable days also kind of resonates with the same. My average trade duration increased when I understood where I was entering and exit. So these are the most important factors, I guess, which improve my trading. Understanding what are the time periods that I'm winning, understanding my trade duration. So this is from my trade duration. If you see, any trade that is less than 1 minute, or let's say any trade that is up till 5 minutes, there is a very high probability that I'm gonna lose that trade. So if I enter into a trade, and if I'm not confident, or if I cut it early, or if my stop loss happens, then it should be ideally between the first 5 minutes. Post 5 minutes to 4 hours, my longest holding period, I had a pretty good win ratio, like 66%, 87%, 66%, 85%. So I had an edge there. If I'm
Yeah,
holding it for more than 5 minutes, then I know that there is a very high probability that I'm gonna get a winner.
that's amazing. And here's another thing is, okay, so one, you are exiting pretty quick if you're wrong, right? You're getting those trades are just done. That's great. That's indicating you're not having problems cutting losses. And then when you do get a trade and you stay committed to the trade, look at the returns that you're getting when you stay committed to your plan and your trade and everything else. So that's really this is great data. And I'm glad you're understanding and using and applying it, because this is really where I think people don't understand the edge in this and how big of an edge data can be. Because a lot of people are profitable. They can be profitable right now. It's just they're so random because of the biases that get created in their mind, because they see green and they think it's good. But if they look at the data, they're like, oh my gosh, like if I did this, this, and this, and that's where the P&L simulator comes in. And I wish more people would use the P&L simulator, because it really helps you, like, hey, take all your data, and as long as you're tagging everything, you can literally filter everything out. And then you can realize, like, wow, this setup, I think, because I have a confirmation bias, I think is really profitable. It's not profitable at all. Like, I need to just get rid of it. And then, oh my gosh, now my win rate just jumped 5%, and my P&L is actually positive now. So people don't sleep on this. This is really, really great, proof of concept. This is proof that people get better through analyzing data and just not feeling around in the dark. So going back to you, any other metrics that you looked at, and where do you see yourself in the future? Are you going to continue to manage risk the way you've been managing it, or are you planning on scaling? Like, what's your plan in the future, and how are you preparing yourself for that?
So right now I am working on keeping on the same pace. I actually start my trade from one single micro, or sometimes two micro. I don't like trading minis or taking very high risk. My entire focus is to make money, not to get a certificate that yeah, I got the max payout, or I had the biggest payout in the prop world or whatever. My only goal is to make money and not be bankrupt. I don't want you to make you guys bankrupt, to get my account bankrupt, and I don't want to lose. So I start with a very nimble size. Then I just keep increasing my contract size. When I am in profits, I can use that profits to scale myself. So this is how I like to work on my account.
Yeah, that's awesome. And here's the thing is, I think we're all enticed. Everybody is, as a trader, and even me when I first started. You see all these people trading online, and they're making these huge amounts of money, right? They're like, oh my God, he made 50K, and that must, it doesn't seem that hard. I could do what this guy does, right? The issue is when you start with that, when you start with that perspective, you end up learning really bad things. And the reality of these guys, most of these guys that have huge P&Ls, is they risk a lot of money. And that risk that they're risking 25K to make 50, right? They're not risking 1,000 and then they make 50K. That's not the reality of it. So a lot of these people think they need to swing huge. It's like, no. When you start small, risk small, because your account is small. And as you find success, one, emotionally, each decision you make is not going to be so charged with emotion that you're going to do really dumb stuff, because it's really hard not to. And then also you're going to grow your account slow and organically, where you understand risk first and foremost, right? Just like you, where you're like, hey, I start with one micro. I'm not a mini trader. That's fine, but you'll get to where you want to go. You got to take the time to get there. And most people don't. They just want to make some crazy amount of money right away. It's like, dude, it's not possible. Not with these size accounts. Like,
Exactly. Actually, this account should be a proof. I made in the demo, obviously, but I made $60,000 with a max contract size of only one single mini or 10 micros. My account had a limit of only 10 micros. So I made in 1 month, or maybe in less than a month, 16,000 US dollars, trading less than 10 minis. This is like 16,000, you can see, right? And anytime I couldn't trade more than 10 contracts because that was my account size, 10 micro contracts.
Yeah, and that's proof right there. You don't need huge size. You just need to trade. And you can
Yes,
see
my
the number
top
of
number
trades he's
is
taking. Like
right.
this isn't. He's actually a bit more of a scalper based on the numbers of trades he's taking. But it's all possible with smaller size. You just got to realize, like, as long as you're winning more than you're losing, and if you look at his P&L curve, it's very gradual. It's very clean, right? That's what we're looking for. That's generally what we see when people actually do well. They don't have these huge wild swings. The only wild swing he has is maybe towards the beginning. He kind of has a little bit of a drawdown there, but his daily is basically protected him. And that's what you really need to do. And if you think about what his daily is compared to what his max loss could be per day, I want to say you're below the recommended daily limit, right? Our emergency stop. Are you below that, the 400?
Sorry, didn't get you.
So your daily loss limit that we place is what, 1200, but the one you set
Yeah,
was
200,
400.
right? Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
So you look at your risk in a certain way. Other people don't. They want to risk like 40% of their account in a day, and it's like, dude, it's not sustainable. You're not going to last, because even if you're perfect, you're going to have bad days. Like, it happens, right? Headline risk, bad entry, bad exit. Like, it happens on every platform. There's no way around that. And if you're risking too much and you put your account in jeopardy on every trade, you're setting yourself up for risk of ruin that is so crazy fast. Where he thought about risk and said, hey, you know what? I need to figure out how to work within this risk, because I know I can make $500-600 in a day with this contract size, so I shouldn't be able to lose more than 400, right? It's all about managing risk, and doing so, putting in the work and doing it right, you get the results that he got, right? Now, do you have any guidance for traders that are starting out or might be struggling? What would you recommend that they do to like turn the corner and get better? What do you have for that?
Just keep your position sizing really low. Don't oversize, don't overtrade, don't go on a tilt, like all the basic stuff. There is no holy grail. This is the holy grail. You just have to stay committed. You just have to stay in the game long enough. If you are in the game long enough, there is gonna be a winning streak. You are gonna get profitable somewhere. But if you are out of the game, then you are out. You got to find something else to do now. So better stay in the game, and today or tomorrow you are gonna make it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions real quick. I think we have enough likes, and we will go ahead and start the giveaway. We don't have a very long show today. We'll try to keep it kind of short. So this question is for you. What size do you trade with? And I know you've already mentioned it, but if you could just
I
respond
actually
again.
start with only a single micro. So one micro, maybe two micros, that max.
And then your max size right now, I think you scale up to 5 total micros, right?
Right, five total micros. Yeah.
Up to 5. So he'll get into a trade and then he'll start scaling in as it works in his favor, and he'll get all the way up to 5. You know, it helps him to manage risk, right? When he is wrong, he knows he's wrong pretty quickly, and it's only with smaller size.
Only on two micros, right?
Yeah, so it's a really good way to manage risk. He's not averaging in when he's wrong. He's averaging in when he's right. So really great way. How many trades per day on average would you say?
That may be like 2 trades, sometimes 3. Or I actually have a single trade in mind that I'm gonna trade from here to here. In between that, I may take multiple trades, but my vision or my goal is only to take a certain range and trade that. I have like I'm long from 100 to 110. I may enter at 102 and maybe add more at 3, 4, 5, exit at 7, 8, 9. So this is how I work.
Got it. Do you have a and I just reading this next question before it's even posted here. Let me post it. Do you trade multiple instruments, and what's your favorite? What do you like to trade? What do you think the best instrument?
Only MNQ, right? So
okay, so
NASDAQ.
MQ. What's the reason for picking NASDAQ?
I love volatility. So volatility gives you money. If something is not volatile, if something doesn't move, then how are you gonna trade it? For traders, we need movement, right? And for movement, we have the most volatile index, that is Nasdaq. So better to trade Nasdaq than anything else.
Yeah. So I think this is Cardi got answered. Are you a scalper? Yeah, I would say you're a quasi scalper. You do trade a little bit more high frequency than most, but you're looking at particular like one or two setups that you take over and over at high frequency. So yes, you are a scalper. Honestly, generally scalpers, their performance isn't as good as his. So he's in a realm that a lot of people probably won't ever obtain. It's a lot harder to find success with scalping than it is like a systematic, very systematic approach. We're trading 2 or 3 times a day. So huge props to you for doing it as a scalper. Cool. What else do we have for questions? And any other questions that we have? Raj, could you go through all the questions, see what else we got? Let's see here. I guess I'll go through. I don't know if Raj just up there we go. Yes. Journaling is very boring. We all know that. It is not fun. But I think it's something where you got to look at trading. Like trading's fun. It's probably one of the funnest things you can do, right? If you don't have to put all the other work into it, right? Getting in and out of trades, and it's almost like it's like playing a video game, right? Yeah, it's fun, like a video game, right? But then you're like, well, if I could just do this all day and play it as a video game and not put any actual work in, that would be great. But that's not the case for the traders that I meet that actually are successful. You have to put in the work into the journaling, because if not, you have no idea where you're going. You're like filling around in the dark, and you're not going to find the success because you don't know what actually works and what doesn't. And your mind will play tricks on you, especially with confirmation bias. Like you'll see a setup, you're like, oh man, this works every time. And then actually the data will be like, no, it doesn't work every time. And you lose your butt on it every single time you take the trade. But yet your mind tells you, no, this works, but it doesn't, right? Rely on the data. The data is automatic. Just use our systems. It's super simple. When it's auto, it's a lot easier. Yes, practice accounts. That's the purpose of a practice account. So if you have an assessment, you get free practice account access. If you don't have an account with us, that's fine too. You can sign up for a practice account. That practice account comes with live data and comes with everything you need to forward test a strategy. And what's really great is you can start collecting the data, figuring out if your back testing matches your forward testing. Because a lot of times what will happen is you'll back test a strategy, and maybe it's relying on like a lagging indicator or something like that. And you'll see skewed results when you go to actually trade it because of that, right? So use our practice account, which is really inexpensive, to actually journal and collect the data to figure out, well, is this actually worth putting my real money on the line to actually trade this, right? It's a great way to do it. It's super cheap. And it's a great tool and resource. So I highly recommend people sign up and use our practice accounts. And what else do we have for questions? Thank you. Yeah. Look, most of the people online in this space, they probably make a lot more money. And it's not probably, they make more money from affiliation than they actually do probably from their trading. And if they are trading accounts, they're probably getting free accounts or whatever. It's part of their stipulations for advertising. Look, we use affiliates too, but anytime you talk to any of us, we will tell you trading is not easy. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Is it achievable? Absolutely. But if you're just looking online and thinking it's easy and you can make it, $1 million and buy Lambos and stuff, that's not the reality of it. It's a slow, methodical process. And you've really got to look at the data and the numbers and think about probabilities at all time and how much you're actually risking. That's what's important in trading. So yeah, I know you're going to feel the FOMO when you see all that stuff online, but try to get away from it because it's not helpful. That's a question for you, bud.
Yeah, so actually I aim for at least 50, 50 points on NASDAQ.
Awesome.
Below 50, I feel it's like irrelevant. Like, why trade for 10 points or 15 points? It's NASDAQ moves like 10, 15 points in probably a couple of seconds. So you cannot trade that. That's high frequency, I believe. you need some size. So you need 10-20 points at the very least to trade. But if you are taking a stop loss of, let's say, 20-30 points, then how are you going to trade with less than 50 points profit?
Got it. All right. What else do we have? Just get the same data. Yeah. So if you have an assessment or a practice account or anything like that, the data you can access from practice accounts or assessments, canceled accounts, whatever, right? The data just stays within our ecosystem. Additionally, I think in the future, we're going to allow, if you have an assessment with us, we're working on maybe ability to allow users to upload the data from anywhere. And I think that will be super helpful for traders where they can just use our journaling one place, and we'll have to figure out how to handle that. But that's something I think we're all interested in doing. What else do we have for questions? We can improve, see mistakes. Yeah, it's huge, man. Yes, thank you for your feedback. Absolutely, the data is so important, and I think people just don't realize how important it is. So how to be consistent. So I think with all the traders I meet that are struggling with consistency, that's because they don't have, like, they have setups, right? They understand, let's say they have like 10 setups or 5 setups. It doesn't matter how many setups they have, but the issue is the way they take those setups, the way they track those setups, there's inconsistency in the way they do that. So their data is so muddy, right? There's just no clarity in what they're actually doing. And they change what they do every day. So when they don't know what they're actually doing every day, and they just kind of have a sense for what might work and what doesn't, and they're not tracking it, you're just injecting complete pure random, thought process and action into it. You're never going to get a consistent result out of it. So here's my suggestion. Get one strategy. I don't care if it works or fails. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is to develop like a plan around that one strategy and make it super clear and concise. Like, you could literally explain to a 5-year-old. I don't care what it is. It doesn't need an edge. The purpose is to teach yourself a process that is repeatable, right? Because that's all you are as a trader. You're finding something in the market that has a higher probability of working this way than not. And if, as long as when it works, it makes more money than it loses, that's an edge that can work long term, right? The issue is people get so caught up in it, they don't even know what they're doing. They're just like trading a million different things. So get back to step one setup. That's all you need, just one, and start tracking it and really make a clear plan of how you identify it. And that setup's got to be basically, if it's a breakout setup, then make sure you name it and make sure you tag it. And there's 2 different conditions. Understand, one, there's a setup, but there's also a trigger to get into the setup, right? It's a signal. So there's 2 different things you need to be tracking. One, the setup, and how you get into the trade and why you get into the trade. And once you start tracking that data, you'll get clarity on the setup. And if that setup is profitable, amazing, great, sweet. Now you got to work on you and work on your psychology so you can actually trade the profitable strategy. So what most people do is they'll get into a strategy. They think they're trading it the same way every time, but they're not. It works for about a week, then it stops working, and they're like, oh, I don't like that strategy anymore. It loses. I'm going to another strategy. And they go strategy to strategy, and they never have any solid foundation on what they're actually doing. And they don't even know if it works or not, right? Every strategy is going to have periods of time it doesn't work. That's okay. That's normal. It's probabilities. You're not ever going to find anything that works 100% all the time. So square one strategy, track just that one, find what the signals are to get into it, explain it like you could to a 5-year-old, and trade it every single day for a couple of weeks, and then look at the data. Is it profitable or not? And if it's yes, cool, you got a working strategy. There's plenty of them out there. That's not the problem for most people. It's psychology and how they actually trade it. Okay, what else we got? Yeah, so I think internally it's done. I know that we got done a couple days ago on that particular MFE, MAE is done. When are we going to launch it? I don't know. It depends on if it's actually ready to be launched. I just know it's done. Unfortunately, I can't give you any guidance on when It will be available for everybody, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month. I don't know. I don't have that information yet, unfortunately. But as far as I know, it's the initial development is done. All right. We could go ahead and have any other questions. Anybody? And if not, I'm gonna bid our guest farewell, and then I'm going to get into a new component we're about ready to add. Questions. Raj, what else we got, bud? I don't know if he's having problems, so I'll just go ahead and jump some of these questions. Yeah, strategy hopping, yeah, absolutely. Everybody does it. Look, as a trader, you never want to lose, right? That's your mentality. And, because of, when you grow up and stuff like that, everything is taught like, don't lose because that's bad. But it's like, no, trading's not that way. You have to lose to win. And when you get a strategy that loses once or twice, you're like, oh, this thing's broken and sucks. But it's like, no, it's actually a good strategy. And it's okay that it loses sometimes. Can I use the practice account to review and record past orders? I don't, maybe a little bit more clarity on that. But yes, if the orders were processed through our systems, then all the data is stored. It's kept forever. You can always go back and look at that data as long as those trades were taken inside of our ecosystem. As I mentioned, we're looking at the option to import trades from anywhere in the future, but that's in the initial stages. So no idea when that will be ready. Could be pretty far out. Max favorable excursion and max adverse excursion. So the purpose behind this, and this is a great tool that super important, right? What it means is how far did the trade go in your favor? It doesn't matter if you're in or out of the trade, right? It's just looking at once you exited the trade, how much further did it go? And then the other flip side of that, okay, so how much did it actually go against you before it went? So what you could do with this data is, one, it could help you identify if you're getting out of trades early. And if so, we can average out how far each, let's say we have a particular setup, a breakout trade, right? You could look at the max favorable excursion and say, hey, normally a breakout trade will go 50 points. I take it off at 10 points. Like I have 40 points on the table. And if I took it out at 50 points, my win rate would only drop by like 5%. It's a huge gain, right? That's how you use that data to tune your trading, right? It's all about analytics. Now going to the max adverse excursion, that's the flip side, right? Like I said, so let's say you're holding trades against you way too long. And what you find by looking at the data is like, no. If the trade's going to work, then it's going to work before a 10-point pullback. And anything beyond 10 points is pointless because it doesn't recover from there, right? That's how we're going to use and help traders understand where they should get out, where they shouldn't get out, and help them tune their strategy by using both those factors. So that's what it is. That's how we're excited to be able to use it. It's also going to show up, where the trades were. And then we're going to try to get those numbers. We're going to try to build formulas to help people get better and understand when to get in, when to get out, all that stuff. It's very good data to have.
Ryan, would it be available for the past trades and the past data?
It's done now, but I have no idea at the level of completeness. And I don't know. I don't have a timeline for when we're going to launch it. It could be in a few weeks. It could be a month from now. I don't want to give dates because I have no idea. I just know internally it's done. I don't know how ready it is.
Super excited about it.
Yeah, it's a great stat. I can't wait to use it. I just don't want to give a promise that we can't keep. So, yeah, I've done it. I'm sure he's done it because he's laughing. So here,
absolutely, I've done it.
Here's what you got to do. Why you're doing that is it's tilt, right? It's tilts is just a word that we all use for when we lose our mind and we start trading emotionally. The best way to protect yourself from this, have a daily loss limit. That daily loss limit should be set in a way that it gives your strategy enough room to work and no more. right? So if you know you need, let's say this many trades times this amount of risk to find out if you're going to find a working setup in that day, then your risk could be set at that. For our buddy here, he's found that it's $400 at this current contract size. So he knows either one of two things is going to happen. He's going to land his trades, find his success, and he's going to be done for the day. Or, man, it just didn't work today. I got steamrolled. Nothing worked the way it should have. And I'm done at $400 and I'm done, right? Here's the issue. Most people don't do that. They push so hard that in winning times, that works great, right? They're aggressive, it works, they can make the money back. But when it doesn't work, you go from maybe should have losing $400 to, oh my God, I just lost a week worth of profits in one day because I didn't know when to stop. I didn't want to give up. And that's resilience, and that's great in other components in life. But in trading, it's the recipe for blowing up. And you got to have a daily stop in place. That daily stop has to allow you enough room to actually trade. And you got to look at your data driven, man. That's what we look at. That's what we rely on, because if we let ourselves make those decisions, we'll make really bad decisions, because we are really bad at remembering confirmation bias, right? And we are so tilted when it comes to P&L that we lose sight of what's actually important. So guide this by P&L, or not by P&L, I'm sorry. Not by P&L, by actual data. Same question. Yeah, so look, you need to start tracking, and this is why we added in the morning check-in, right? The purpose of that is to build like a baseline for when you have a clarity about yourself, right? Because you need to trade from a clear place. You got to trade from a level that you're just even kiltered, right? You're not tilted. You're not super ecstatic, thinking you're going to make $1 million. You're like just in the right zone. But what we do in the morning is you check in, and your morning like check in every single day, right? This is the baseline for who you are when you start the day. And then you also use tagging during the day to identify those emotions. So it's a process. Build a process around tracking yourself and then figuring out what your triggers are. So my trigger is more than 2 winning or losing trades. I start losing my mental focus. I start thinking more about emotional stupidness of the P&L than I do about, hey, this is the strategy, this is how it works. So because of my trigger, after 2 losing trades, I get up and I take a break. That's my trigger, but that might not be your trigger. So you got to figure it out independent of who you are as a person, and figure out how to work within the boundaries of who you are. And then also, when it comes to strategies, find a strategy that matches you as a person and your psychology. It's super important. Yeah, let's do the spin-off. So you are, go ahead and spin away. All right, William, congratulations. You get a real account as normal. If you've won an account before, you are not allowed to win again. If you make more than 1 email to enter multiple times and we find out, you will not be able to win. Like, come on, guys, play fair. 1 email, 1 person, 1 time every 90 days. Give some other people opportunities to win. Please don't use multiple emails. We will find out. Just don't do it. Thank you. All right, next person. Congrats, William. Tiny Tim Trades. Congrats. TTT. Triple T. Congrats, you win. And assessment. Congratulations. Well, credit for an assessment. And next, are we going to do 2 assessments and then a couple practice accounts? That's what we're going to do today.
Yeah, let's do 2 practice accounts, 2 assessments.
Okay, sounds great. All right, 2 more. These are for practice accounts. Understand, practice accounts have huge value, guys. Use them even if you don't trade with us. Just use them to collect data. Figure out what works, what doesn't. Like, proof is in the pudding. You can actually get better. Gravon Brown, congratulations. You've won a practice account, forward test, live data, all the good stuff. All right, last person. Ryan, congratulations. As mentioned, anybody's won before, you cannot win again for 90 days. Please don't sign up with multiple emails. It's not cool. It's kind of circumvent the whole purpose. You know, we want to spread the wins around and give everybody chances to succeed. Okay, cool. So at this point, hopefully not everybody disappears on us, but I am going to share a work in progress. It's called the coaching session or section. It lets us look at data. It lets us basically work with our members to help them set goals and work on new things. And it allows me to look at the data. We don't look at people's data unless they give us permission. But it is something that is going to be super beneficial. And then we're going to open it up so people can create groups or pods or trading groups or whatever you want to call it. And then everybody will be able to look at each other's data in those groups as long as they provide permission. And you guys will be able to hold each other accountable. And it's really cool because, you know, if you guys are all trading the same strategy, you guys can all look at it and be like, oh, I didn't see that, or I did see that. And man, look at those stats. And or you guys could all trade and forward test together and then all figure out what strategy works the best. It's really cool feature. We think it's going to really help people grow. And that's the main purpose. So let me go ahead and add that screen real quick. Present. Sorry for the delay. Share screen. It is, there it goes. All right. Hopefully everybody can see this. Let's go ahead and make it, add. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see this fully. Let me see if I can make this wider so you guys can see it a little bit better. I'll zoom in a little bit. All right. How's that look for everybody? A little bit more, maybe.
I think you can zoom in a little more.
Then I could probably make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. All right, cool. So here's what we're looking at. So this is actually him up here. Unfortunately, the way the data is working right now, it's still, we're kind of making some changes on the way it's viewed. Let me go back to the student details. Let me go here. This is our test account, basically. In our test account, you can see, you'll have all the accounts that these people have, right? And you'll be able to see all their different test accounts if they decide to share it. You can also look at the canceled accounts and look at the data independent of each one. So let's just go to the active account. And you can see he's currently in a boosted base hit. Cool, cool. This is our developers little thing. But the purpose of this for us internally is so that when I talk to people, we can kind of like set goals. Let's say like, oh, you know, this guy, he has 10 years of trading experience, trades the NQ, struggles with risk. You know, we can basically build relationships with our traders and have an understanding of what's going on and stuff like that. And then we're going to have the ability to basically add weekly goals or coaching goals for them that they could work on during the week, right? And these features, they should be able to actually, all our users or traders, once they opt into it and create these little groups of people, they'll be able to use these same tools. And the purpose is to come together and basically share, you know, experiences and strategies and all this stuff that actually works. And maybe you could have a group for Nandro traders. You could have a group for ICT traders. And, you know, you get invited into the group and everybody's sharing their stats. And it's not just a bunch of fluff, right? People can't like hide behind and be like, oh, look at my day. And then in reality, their account's like no, it's messed up, right? And then you can actually see what works, what the win rate is, and all this different stuff. So I think it's gonna be really great. So we're going to have announcements where, the admin in these groups can go ahead and announce and send messages and stuff. You can see these are placeholders. And then we're going to have leaderboards. So these leaderboards are going to be pretty cool, where we're going to allow our traders to run like competitions and stuff. And, we'll probably have to go through some type of approval moderation process, but let's say you want to run a competition, ICT traders all welcome, and like who can, trade the best order blocks, or I don't know. I don't trade ICT, but have competitions geared for those traders, where it feels more of like a community, because trading, look, it's isolated, right? But if you had a cool community and it's outside and everybody's looking at the data and they're sharing it, you're not dealing with some scammer that's not actually trading. You can look at the data, it's all confirmed and it's actual live trading. I think it's a really cool area for people to share and just learn together, right? So through the data, depending on what account you click and stuff, you can actually take a look at, the profit. You can look at all the different stuff, and then you can actually launch the full view of the reports page, which then would give you the trade history. There's 237 trades here. You can look over the trades when they got in, when they got out. And the idea is not just those pods, but maybe we can invite educators into the space. So maybe they have an education program, and these educators can help you to figure out did you get in the same trade that they got into? Did you use the right methodology? Then you can look at like the overview. Okay, well, how's your risk? Were you risking correctly versus what you were losing? So it's being data driven. And then you can look at stuff like streak analysis, which will give you an idea of like, well, how often are the best traders seeing losses in a row, right? It's really just helping people understand visually what works, what doesn't work, and how to get better. And then of course you'll have P&L simulator and all these different things that are going to be very helpful for traders. But that's the next thing we're bringing out. So for now, we are using internally to help traders when we're coaching them. We can look at their stuff. We can set goals for them. That's not quite done yet, but we'll be able to look and take notes and just look at their overall performance, because the point is to use data to help these people get better, to help traders actually get better. And that is through, analysis, figuring out where they're struggling, where we can get better, how we can get them better. And that's the point of all this stuff. So, I know it's quick, but we don't want to have the show run too much longer. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up after we'll give some people some more question time if they want to ask any more questions. And other than that, cool. All right, Raj, if you got any other questions we can go through. Wait a second. Yeah, so after passing the test account, there is a discount. It's going to be, initially it was a 50%, but I think what we'll probably do is 10% over any discount that we run. So if it's a 50% discount, normally you'll get 60%. We just want to make it extra special because look, passing a practice account means something, right? And it also means that you're slowing down and putting the time that you should put in to actually work, right? You got to put in the work, and that's a good thing. We want to reward good thought process and good behavior. All right, any other questions? I can answer this one. This is actually a really good question. So can I ask why assessments are built so if you hit your DLL, it goes against you or adds to goal limit, you make more than your goal limit? Okay, perfect. This is a great question, and let me answer it for you. The DLL that we set is an emergency stop. You should not be using the DLL that we have in place as your stop for the account. It's 40% of your account, right? I can guarantee you right now, if we said, hey, we're getting rid of the daily stop limit, everybody like, oh my God, that's great. That's great. I know what people want, but look, the reason behind the daily loss limit is to protect accounts. We don't want people going in and think about it, this as a business. Do you think we would make more money if we got rid of the daily loss limit or kept it in place? I can tell you right now, we'd make a lot more money if we just let people blow accounts in one day, because they reset, they'd be mad, upset, and then they would reset, right? That's not what we're trying to accomplish. We want people to slow down. If we could adjust the daily loss limit to less than 40%, we absolutely would. We put it way closer to like $400 a day. So any one day wouldn't offset what you could earn, right? It's in your realm to set your own daily loss. And that's what we recommend everybody does. Look, I mean, perfect example. Look at the trader we have on today. What did he do? He doesn't use our daily loss limit because it does set you back, right? But that's 40% of your account. Why are you risking 40% of your account? You shouldn't. The only reason we did that is because, look, we know people sometimes have bad days, and we never want anybody to lose their entire account in one day. So if we reduce it from 1,200 down to, like, say 400, everyone would be up in arms saying, oh, there's not enough risk, and you guys blah, blah, blah. You know, we have to be competitive, but we really preach that, hey, everybody, come on, don't use our emergency stop as your stop for the day. That's an emergency stop in case you forgot to set your own stop, in case whatever happened. It's an emergency stop, right? Maybe we should even change it. Maybe we should call it an emergency stop. But set your own stop, and then you won't have problems where you take a full stop, like the emergency stop, and then you're set back by a couple days, right? Don't use that stop. Tighten your stop, set your own. What else we got? So look, percentage-wise depends on your account size. We're all trading assessments. We know we're trading more risk than we should actually trade, right? You know, in reality, you should be risking about 1% of your account per day. That's not feasible, not in these accounts. It's not possible. I don't care where you trade. The reason you should be risking 1% per day, per whatever, is because your risk of ruin is a lot lower, and any professional trader, any guy that has had long-term success knows this. Like, you can't risk so much on any one day that the outcome of the trade starts to impact your decision-making, right? And that's what happens. I think that's what happens a lot when people get through the assessment and then get to the next stage. They like lose their mind and they want to like change everything they did, and then they don't think about the risk, and then, you know, they have one bad day, and that bad day is a 40% of their account, and now they feel like they're backed in a corner, and it all spirals out of control. So to answer your question on the percent, what should you actually risk? It should be more in the wheelhouse of what you can actually make a day, right? Is that optimal? Absolutely not. But it is what works through the assessment. So for instance, if you can make $400 a day, then you should risk $400 a day. It should be about 1-to-1. If you can size down even more, then size down even more, because when you get to the brokerage, we want people to learn risk behavior that actually works in the brokerage. And if you're risking 40% of your account per day in the brokerage, we have people do it sometimes, that account's going to be gone very quickly. And that's not what we want. We want people to survive long-term, and that's through proper risk management. So size it down, get to like $400, $200 risk. It depends. Try to stay 1-to-1 and try to trade within those boundaries, and you'll be a lot happier, and you're going to find a lot more success. It will slow you down, but as long as you're not taking huge substantial losses, it's going to work in a lot more in your favor. No, it's going to be set. Once you set your daily loss limit, it's going to be locked. And the reason behind this, and I can tell you I've done this, if you set one and then you're really mad and you're really upset, why not go in and reset and be like, I don't need the daily. I'm going to make this back, right? So you set it at 400, it's unlocked. You go back in, you're like, you know what? I'm going to give myself $200 extra. You're already in the wrong mindset. So once it's set in Project X. Rhythmic, I think if we set it on our end, you can't set it again. But it's all about protecting you guys. It's about, trying to help you guys have the boundaries you need to find long-term success. And the way we set these boundaries is through trial and error and understanding what actually works and how people actually thrive in the brokerage and through the process. It's just setting those stops and not being able to change those stops. So cool. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up now. Thank you for everybody that joined us today. Thank you for our guests that joined us today. Really, really appreciate you being on. And thank you for everything. And please, if you guys need help, my face is covered. It's fine, Raj. if you guys need help and you're with us or not with us, dude, reach out. We have time. I will meet with you. I will help you. You know, we want people to be successful, and I don't care where you trade. Like, maybe our firm isn't best for you. Like, cool, that's fine. But let's still all work together, because there's a lot of predatory crap that happens in this space, and we want to help people. And reach out and we will help you. Trust me. I meet with people all the time, and a lot of the people I meet with don't even have accounts with us, and that's fine. Like, it is what it is. I like trading. I love talking about trading because it helps me, right? And it also helps you, and it makes me feel good and helps me sleep at night, right? Because we're actually helping people in the space, not just, you know, take. So cool. You guys join the SRO. Is that the self-moderation stuff? Yeah, we had some discussions on that. We're absolutely interested in that, because I think that is the right direction for the space. From what I've heard so far about what it's going to do, it's actually just going to put protections in for traders. And those protections will be like how many accounts can be reset, how much money they can spend in a month. It's to prohibit gambling, because there are a lot of gamblers in this space and it's not healthy. And I can tell you, I've met with people that have spent way too much money, and we put them on timeout if we have to. We talk to them. We, you know, basically work with them and try to help them figure out what's going on. And because look, you don't need to spend tons of money to find success in this. You just got to slow down and figure out what actually works, what doesn't. And having guidance really goes a long way. So anyways, guys, I think that's it. Cool. We'll go ahead and sign off. Thanks, guys. Raj.